Good evening to one and all present here. I'm Aryan Saigaonkar from the Sort and Literary Club, and I welcome you all present here to a very unique webinar on the topic of application of technologies in Indian Armed Forces. Now, we all know about the emerging domains in the technology field that are artificial intelligence, IoT, machine learning, 5G, and quantum computing. But these technologies can also be used in the Indian defense capabilities. And for this, we have invited a respected speaker, Commander Vijay Pratap Singh. Now I'll introduce you all to the personality that we have called upon today. A personality with military grade mental strength with several qualifications in the field of defense, which he acquired throughout his journey. Our speaker has served in the Indian Navy and Integrated Defense Headquarters as the former Joint Director, where he worked on various projects like advanced technical systems of warships, submarines, QA, HR, and defense space projects. Sir has worked for 12 years in submarines and advanced naval warships and 23 years in naval warship construction project, Director General of Naval Quality Assurance and Advanced Defense Space Projects in association with ISRO and DRDO. Sir has also shared his views and experience through his famous books Personality Development and Grooming Using Military Traits and Energy Audit and Management for Young Aspirants. Technological advancements of warships, submarines, and advanced weapon systems are briefly analyzed and explained in his papers and articles. Presently working as adjunct professor in Thakur College of Engineering and Technology, Mumbai, since 26 January 2019 for students' personality development, industry linkages, and soft skills training and mentoring, and also career counseling for government, defense, and paramilitary services for TCET and TCSE. With 25 years of experience as a defense officer and 2.5 years as a professor, with great privilege, I introduce our guest of honor, Commander Vijay Pratap Singh. Over to you, sir.
Thanks, brother. You have spoken in length about me. I don't know. Students will be able to understand what you have said. Yeah, but in my within next 1 hour, I would like to enlighten you all about the technology and the systems which Indian Armed Forces are using in liaison with the industries available in India and abroad. There are many systems which are not known to you all when you are studying in the colleges, but applications are there. There are some subjects which are covered, which are not covered, but more or less, I would like to make things very simple to make you understand what all things are being used by the Indian Armed Forces, Indian Navy, Indian Army, Indian Air Force, and Ministry of Defense as a whole. So since I have worked there for around 35 years in all the domain, underwater, surface and air domain, and defense space projects, so fairly good enough ideas I have to disseminate the information to you all. Am I audible to you all? Am I audible properly?
Yes, sir, you're audible.
Yeah, so as I'm going to share with my experience and few slides to share in there. Can you share, give me the sharing rights?
So you can share. Sharing rights are already given.
Yeah, okay. There are few slides I have made to make you aware about the technologies and the systems are being exploited in all three forces. My slide is visible? Is it visible?
Yes, sir,
No?
it's visible.
Yeah, my introduction is already there. You all have given the introduction. So nothing much to speak about this. I'll be covering about the all three domain of the armed forces, Army, Air Force, and Navy. And wherever there are commonalities, I'll talk about that also. So let us see what is there in the today's discussion. I'll be talking about the role of Indian Army, Air Force, Navy, major technology and technical systems, main armaments and war machines of the Indian Navy and Army, Air Force, Then enemy target acquisition, tracking and destruction system, which is there applicable to all three forces. Major equipment systems and war machines, military communication and weapons control system, coastal military surveillance, combat management system, guided missile control system, composite military communication network, and I'll be talking about little in detail about the submarines, who are advanced technical vessels, almost deadliest enemy of the enemy for all the countries. Then something about the main battle equipment, satellite-based surveillance of enemy and intelligence acquisition of military use. Okay. Now there are roles, the many roles of Indian Armed Forces, but I have in a nutshell, I am giving you some little bit idea. When there is no war and we are at peace, there is no much action against any hostile country. Then during that time, what we all do, when being in defense forces is being enumerated here. Enemy data acquisition, data storage and data retrieval, modernization of military equipment and system at par with global standards, and procurement of defense war machines from major defense equipment manufacturers and suppliers globally, indigenous design and development of war equipments within India under Atmanirbhar Bharat, which is being right now propagated by Government of India. And many Indian industries are into it for manufacturing the armament and equipment for the Army and Air Force and Navy. Research and development through DRDO and ISRO. Maintenance and upkeep of existing military arsenals, equipment and systems. Upkeep of military infrastructure in military areas across the country. Control and monitoring of defense high-tech technical establishments involved in maintenance and repairs of war machines. Aid to civil administration during natural calamities, civil unrest and riot. They are very generic in nature. Control and monitoring of training academies, defense-owned education institutions and laboratories. There are few education institutions which are controlled by defense also. Then control and monitoring of defense township, regimental shops, marketing areas, and military cantonments across the countries. Control and management of defense housing, uniform, and rations. These are things which are important during the peace time when we are not at war with anybody. Control and management of defense-owned hospitals and nursing services across the country for the armed forces personnel and defense-employed civilians. A few more roles we have during peacetime. Supply chain management of defense space, equipment, and other management of sports and adventure activities. Design and development of war games and war exercises. Goodwill missions in friendly countries abroad. Diplomatic missions abroad under directives of United Nations organizations. Management roles such as HR, projects management, inventory management, recruitment and training, total quality management, technical administration, cyber security and information management. Many more are there. I have just written few of them. Now let us come to the war and post-war scenario. Enforcement of war strategy, mobilization of man, material, logistics, and war machinery in and around the war zone, enemy area target acquisition, tracking and destruction with high war machineries, capture of enemy area, diplomatic and strategic military establishment, injury, casualty management, and POW management. POW is basically prisoner of wars after the war is over. Rehabilitation of families, rehabilitation of families of war casualties and injured or disabled soldiers. Now, these were the roles, major roles, which all three forces undertake during the peace and wartime. Let us see a few technologies which are going to be there with these services. Indian armed forces are equipped with the modern technologies which are used by almost all advanced, developed, and fast-growing countries in the world. So we are none less than anybody. Maybe not in quantity, but surely we are in quality. Globally established and technologically advanced public and private sector companies in India and abroad are deeply associated with the Indian Armed Forces. So we can call it a lot of companies, Indian companies as well as foreign companies, they are all associated with the Indian Armed Forces for designing, developing, and supplying the armament and machinery which are required for the modernization of all three forces. Now, a few of them are here: development, delivery, and installation of modern combat equipment and systems, ground battle system, battle tanks, armored vehicles, missile systems and artillery, fighter aircraft, radars, and ground-based surface-to-air missile system, warships, submarines, naval aviation, naval hydrography and ocean survey system, air, ground, and underwater surveillance and readiness system. So these are the equipment. Military intelligence system in association with IV and RAW, security military data and communication grid, secured military data and communication, R&D projects and space missions being developed by Defense and DRDO, ISRO in liaison with education institute like IIT and IISc Bangalore. Now, I will just touch upon the entire technology under the regimes of the various branches we all study in the colleges. So I just categorize the system according to the branch wise. So now let us see electronics and telecommunication engineers, what they do in the services when they handle the technology there. So these are the equipment, navigation equipment and modern communication equipment. They are used for steering the way in your land and water and even in airways. So these equipments are handled by the engineers who are from this branch. Now we have all 4, 5, 6 band of frequency in this. We have very large frequency, very low frequency, medium frequency, high frequency, very high frequency, and ultra high frequency. In all these bands of frequencies, the communication takes place among the military units who are deployed in the peace and war zone. Now, embedded system software used in weapons and sensors control modules, they are tailor made, they are customized by defense forces as per their requirement. Initially, it comes with the preloaded programs, but we can tweak it and we can change it according to our requirement. That embedded software programming is controlled here for different weapons and sensors of different regime and different control regimes. So according to requirement, these programs are altered. Now, centralized control and monitoring system of weapons and sensors through the customized system and application software. Here you'll be touching upon, you'll be taking help of computer engineers because they are there for the programming purposes. Now, let us see something more. Designing and development of electronics interfaces of various equipment systems procured from global manufacturers and suppliers. When we take from the equipment we take from the various countries, Their electronics signal protocol is different. So that is being designed in-house by the defense forces, and putting all this equipment in sync with systems and signal requirement. And they are integrated in a monitoring and control modules which are developed in-house in India by DRDO or by ISRO or by the in-house facility of defense forces. Sometimes we take the help of the research labs which are there across the India. There are around 36 labs are there. Now, target surveillance, target tracking, and navigational radars and underwater target detection sonars systems are also extensively used to locate the target which has to be hit and to track the target. So these two functions are done by the radars and in the air and sonar in the water, underwater you can say. Control engineering, computer-based mathematical modeling and servo system is also used in the guns, missiles, and the tracking radars. Electromagnetic interference and electromagnetic compatibility is a major problem in mainly in the Indian Navy and Air Force, because their equipment and sensors are closely located and they are co-located, and different signals are passing through from forth and back and forth, and that then there is the chances of interference. So these are also catered, and this is a very big subject, EMI, EMC, to isolate the equipment without interference while they are in functions, while they are in operations. So another one, another problem is there, although it's being solved by services with the help of main equipment suppliers. Now let us come to another same branch. We are continuing the same military satellite-based wireless network connecting each soldier's position in border area. Now this is a very typical network. Somewhere you have a wired, somewhere you have a wireless network, but entire system is connected right from headquarters till regional headquarters, then divisions and the fighting soldier who is there at the border. The entire machine, entire man and machine in the system is networked, and data flows back and forth, and things are monitored remotely and locally both. So you must have seen somewhere in the Indian movies or in the foreign movies, such things are still happening now. When there was no network, there was no advanced gadgets. So that time the communication was a very big problem, especially during the war area. Now communication bandwidth is controlled. Defense forces are allocated frequency band. They are dedicated to defense forces. They are not mixed with the normal communication channel outside. So this bandwidth control is also one of the role which defense forces do without mixing up the signals with other services who are not concerned with the armed forces. Now, human and equipment and access control, this is all everywhere in the defense establishment. No unauthorized person is permitted inside the premises of defense. So these RFID system is being used everywhere. Mainly you can say it's a biometric access control, centralized control and database management. Electronic support measures are there. Electronic countermeasures are there. Suppose some you are transmitting some signal in enemy area, then enemy will try to jam your signal, and in the bargain you won't get any reception from the sensor which you have kept in the air or in the water or on the surface of the war zone. So this is the technique which every country adopts during the wartime to for jamming the signals. So these things are for the jamming the signal. And then we have the countermeasures also. If we have such jammers, then we can use the electronic countermeasures machines to nullify the effect of jamming effect. Now there are chaff launchers and all. We will not go into much of detail. A lot of time is required for discussing all these things in details. UAVs These two weapons are very much in use nowadays. Even you see the war which is going on in the Ukraine, the same thing is being these two weapons are extensively used by Russia, and they are of the mass destruction. Oceanic survey and navigational chart correction system is done with the help of advanced equipment by the Indian Navy, and navigational charts are also corrected by Indian Army by their cartography team. Now, actuators, solenoids, transducers, applications, and controls, they are all extensively used by the various machineries being used in the ships, submarines, aircraft, and battle tanks, which are used for the advancement in the war zone. Guns, rockets, and mines control and monitoring system. There are many things which are there to control with the help of various electronics and telecommunication engineering technique. Nuclear reactor is also there nowadays in the defense. So we have the nuclear controlled weapons. We have nuclear power controlled submarines. So all these technologies are now growing day by day, and the engineers have to be very, very perfect in their job to tackle such electronic gadgets which are required to win a war. Now let us come to the electrical engineering part, what kind of technologies and equipment we have. Now entire power generation distribution in the ship, submarines, tanks, armored vehicles, and aircraft. This comes under the electrical engineering part. Now different types of power supply systems which are used for powering the weapons and sensors in all three services. Then this power electronics is also extensively used for remote control and for uh, timing control with certain timing you want to have something switched on, switched off. So that is also being used in the ships and submarines and the aircraft and the battle tanks. The lighting system was then we have an aircraft carrier that is also a big floating city type. So in that also you have extensive use of electrical engineering. Now, various electrical motors used as prime movers, generators, pumps, and other rotating devices in ships, submarines, aircraft, tanks, lifts, winches, gantry cranes, and other miscellaneous. A lot of items are there which I have not listed here, but they are all controlled by electrical power system. Now, firefighting and damage control system is also there on the ships, submarines, and aircraft, and somewhere in the army installations where they are fixed installations. PC motors is also used for the submarine propulsion, submarine battery, storage battery, and charging system. CO2 and O2 analyzer, they are carbon dioxide and oxygen analyzer. If there are less in quantity, then they can be generated with the help of some equipment put on board submarines. Then degaussing system is mainly to demagnetize the ship if it is going on operating in a ship in the ocean or sea for a longer period of time. Then it tends to develop the magnetizing effect in the entire body of the ship. And with that magnetization, there are a lot of electronics and IT equipment. They get disturbed, their signal get distorted. So once in a 5 years or a 4 year, the ship goes in a degaussing system, and that ship gets demagnetized with the help of degaussing coils and system which is put in a particular area in services. Now, let's see computer and IT engineering, what they are applying there in the services. Now, we have a very big network in all three forces, and they're all interconnected somewhere. So somewhere we have a fiber, somewhere we have UTP and STP, and few places where there is no fiber and STP, we have a wireless communication also. So they are all connected together in a different protocols and controlled centrally and regionally. and the signals flows back and forth from the fighting unit to the control unit. Now, national military network grid. So they are in different topology and formation. It may be a LAN, CAN. CAN is campus area network, MAN, metropolitan area network, and WAN is wide area network. So these four combinations of networks are there. But the entire network is a mix of wired and wireless technology, and a lot of technical challenges there in this uh, to handle the network uninterruptedly, mainly during the operations when the entire network is loaded by the nodes. Satellite-based wired and wireless communication network is also there, so that it can support the command and control to the main agencies who are taking decisions in war fighting machines. Then we are using real-time OS, which you must have studied in the college. RTOs are mostly used in the real-time operations of the equipment which are networked through the satellite or through the land-based targets. And Linux and Windows-based application software are also customized and installed in each machine which are connected to the network. And as a huge database is also there, a data center, cloud computing. So a lot of things are being used, but everything is being used in an intranet, not in an internet. Internet is not used in defense forces. We have our own intranet within the services and without any giving access to any outsider. The protocols and the methodology and the technology used in internet is the same what we use in the intranet. Because of concern, so we have foolproof information security in place with the help of software firewall and hardware firewall. And somewhere we have encryption units also in a hardware form, which is designed and developed by DRDO and put in use by Bharat Electronics, which is a defense PSU. Sorry. Cyber security, defense encryption, and military intelligence is a gray area where the entire focus is there from all these services because the intelligence which is gathered during the process in peacetime that is being used in wartime, latest updates, all these information flow, they are to be safeguarded foolproof with foolproof arrangement. So cyber security and encryption takes place in a very uh, detailed manner with the help of various agencies which are there inside the services by the DRDO, then one agency called CARE in the Bangalore, and then the Joint Cipher Bureau is there in Delhi. All these agencies are there to make sure that these cyber security part and information security is taken care of properly without leakage of any important intelligence to enemy area. Highly secured military data archival and retrieval system and computerized surveillance system. So I won't go inside the detail because the time is very less. So I could have gone one by one and told you everything, how these things are functioning in services. But right now I'm just giving the one liner about the information which I have written in the PPT. Design and development of equipment system based on disruptive technology, artificial intelligence, blockchain technology, IoT, data science and machine learning, they are all being very developing stage. AI is being extensively used in war zone or some, and the UAVs are also there. They are using the AI there. Then for database, we have started developing the database using the blockchain technology. IoT in any case is not much in the army and defense, but in R&D purposes and in other sensor control area, IoT is being developed and being used. Data science, machine learning, in any case, these are in tandem with all these technology. Computer engineering is of electrical electronics, mechanical systems, and other systems which are housed inside the warships, submarines, and other war machinery. So they are all centrally controlled, and they are all IP-based Ethernet, or sometimes it is some other protocols which are not disclosed to civilian areas, which are customized only for army and defense forces. Automated missile control system, gunfire control system, and nuclear control, which are used for generation of power for the propulsion of the submarines and ships. And aircraft, we have not even seen any nuclear uh, jet propulsion is there, but in future it might also come. Computer-based underwater land space warfare control and monitoring system, and web-based logistics management system. This is a very, very big software which is being developed by, or it was used earlier, now it is being modernized and upgraded with the latest platform of the web technologies. Web-based software system for handling pay and allowances of defense and defense-employed civilian personnel that is being developed in-house. Design and development of war game softwares, they are also being developed in-house by the services. Software control, talent acquisition, training, and deputation of competent defense personnel in India and abroad for peace missions with other countries. Now, mechanical engineering aspects I would touch upon here. It's a great hydraulic systems are there inside the ships, submarines, and aircraft, and even in batteries and tanks also. They have the hydraulic system in gun control systems. Then steam system, heat generation, generating systems, ventilation system, high and medium pressure air system is also there inside these war machines. Engine gas turbines, engine controls, they're all there for propulsion system. For moving the ships and submarines, you need these engines and gas turbines. Sewage treatment plant, sanitation system of ships, submarines, and SO units. Air conditioning and refrigeration system, which is very common from civil area to defense. But if they are fitted inside a closed compartment like ships and submarines, then challenges increases more than the manifold, more than the challenge which we face in the civil area where the plants are on the surface of the earth. Now, pumps, valves, and special metals and steel structural fabrication, all these are part of the mechanical and other associate engineering, boiler and turbine control, monitoring system, automobile workshops for all types of vehicles used in armed forces for the combat purposes or for support purposes or for transportation purposes. There are various kind of vehicles there attached with the Army, Air Force, and Navy. Now, modernization of weapons and infrastructure assets. So in this also, a lot of mechanical engineers are involved, civil engineers, mechanical engineers, and the electronics and computer IT. Effective control and management of warships, submarines, steering, propulsion, depth. I mean, a lot of systems are there, but few of them I might miss because of the paucity of time. But more or less, major things I have covered here. Now, civil engineering, I would like to say what is there for these engineers in these systems, in the services. Building and plant constructions and erection of mid and large scale concrete and steel and alloys steel structures. They are there, they are required every now and then. Then temporary and permanent bridge construction, which is there with the Indian Army and well, mostly with the Indian Army, but they have to clear the border areas and somewhere if you don't have the area to commute properly, then you have to build a temporary bridge, and sometime it is permanent also, but not for mostly for the defense traffic, not for civilian traffic. Border road organization is already there in place to construct the roads in the border area. So this organization is totally filled with civil engineers and mechanical engineers. Maintenance of roads, buildings, plants within the premises of military area and battlefields. Military engineering services. So they are there to support us. They are also part of defense only. Defense officers are deputed there to control all these activities. We don't take help from outside. Everything is self-contained. Now, design and development of dry docks and the civil projects of Indian Army, Indian Navy, and Indian Air Force. That is a part of the civil engineering gamut. Now, military area development, planning, beautification, infrastructure work under the close coordination with military engineering services. This is a very big services. This military engineering services is a department where the mix of civilian officers and the defense officers are posted. Civilian officers are taken from the UPSC through civil services, and defense officers are deputed from the services only within the armed forces. And in both form a team and they work for the military engineering services. And who this particular organization is responsible for handling the infrastructure of the civil infrastructure of the Indian Armed Forces premises. Now there are few more systems which I cannot categorize in one engineering, so they are all mix of various engineering practices. So we have metallic surface preservations, chemical, metallurgical engineering, material science, and processing of materials. These are all also jobs which are there in the services. Design and technical support to industries, companies, shipyards in India and abroad who are involved in developing and manufacturing of battle tanks, armored vehicles, weapons carrying vehicles and missile launchers, warships, submarines and other support vessels or vehicles, fighter aircraft, helicopters and aviation equipment. So all these equipment which you have just saw, they are all being manufactured by India and abroad. So wherever these equipments and these war support machines are being built, continuous close liaison and by the Indian defense officers and Jawans are there. They are put to the duties to monitor these projects in-house in India or abroad. So this is a very, very great work which defense forces do with their technical manpower. Now, procurement, preservation of military equipment, spares, ammunition, and weapons and sensors. So this is also a very big task for procurement and preservation of military equipment when they are not in use. Some more. Now, as you all know, we have a dedicated R&D for all three forces. That organization is called DRDO. They work for Indian Army, Air Force, and Navy for their future projects. And we take the help of IIT and IIC Bangalore, ISRO, and CSR labs also for the development of the new equipment which are going to be used in the war zone. Now, some more things are there. Naval architectural survey and design of naval warships and submarines. So this is a special branch of engineering which is not there in many engineering colleges. Naval architect is there in IIT Kharagpur and IIT Delhi, and few NITs are also having this branch, naval architect. B in a naval architect. They are basically deployed and employed in warship design and warship constructions, warship and submarine constructions. So we have a total quality management in place, and a lot of change management takes place every now and then because defense forces always believe in latest technology, latest equipment, and state-of-the-art equipment which are highly modernized and technically advanced. So change management is always there. Terrains, valleys, sea and ocean bed, marine lives. These are dedicated work of Indian Army, Air Force, and Navy, so that wherever we go and wherever our war area or war zone is there, the study and knowledge of that area should be 100%, Not a single percent is exempted in this. So there are dedicated departments who go for such surveys in the defense forces. Now, development of land, air, and sea-based navigational aids and warfare strategies. And we have control and monitoring of military hospitals and defense laboratories, control and monitoring of education institutions under the ambit of armed forces. So there are some education institutions like secondary education, engineering education, management education. Then we have some hotel management, and somewhere we have the medical colleges, nursing colleges. There are various colleges. They are dedicated to the defense personnel and their dependents. So these institutions are controlled and monitored by the Indian Armed Forces officers and the Jawans. Control and monitoring of defense projects in defense public sector units and defense shipyards. So this is all a very big task. Whenever there is any defense equipment is being developed and manufactured by any industry, we have to have a close coordination and liaison with them. We open an office there in their premises and start monitoring the progress on day-to-day basis. Repairs and maintenance of warship, war machineries through defense establishments. They are already there in the services. Army has got many defense workshops. Similarly, Army, Air Force, and Navy have a big naval dockyard in east and west coast, and many various other repair agencies. Similarly, Air Force is also having the base repair depots everywhere spread across the country. So we are self-reliant. We don't have to worry much about the emergency repairs and maintenance of the war machineries, except few modernization and alteration conditions. The control and monitoring of academics and training centers owned by Indian Armed Forces. Academies like Training Academy, Indian Military Academy, OTA, and Indian Naval Academy, Air Force Academy. All these academies are handled and controlled by the Armed Forces officers and Jawans. Now, control and monitoring of military housing, ration, and uniform. So these are the few tasks and the machineries and the activities which are there with all three forces. Now let us touch upon very quickly about the armament and equipment which are there. The main armament and equipment which are there with the all three forces. So I'll just run through these slides so you all can see and visualize what are these things. So most of the places I have written the names, and somebody has got any doubt, he can ask me at the end of the lecture. Now these are few other equipment: intercontinental ballistic missiles, Swati radars, armored recovery vehicles. Then we have the air defense tactical control radar, surface to air missiles, the supersonic cruise missile. These are the armament which are developed in house and given to all three forces by DRDO and the Indian industries available in the India. Now this is what is main battle tank which is used in land fighting with the army. With all these written here, you can see the parts, how it looks like, and what are things are there inside the battle tanks. This is manned by 4 to 5 Jawans and one officer. Sometimes bigger tanks are there. There you have 5 to 10 Jawans and 2 officers. Okay, one more tanks I'll just show you. They're all modern tanks and used everywhere in the war zone. You must have seen in current ongoing war, a lot of tanks are flowing here and there. Now let us see Indian Air Force. They are also highly equipped with the latest modern warfare machines and the highly technologically advanced aircraft, fighter aircraft. Then Hercules, you must have seen in the mission Ganga right now going on. Indian Air Force is using this to bring the students back to the country.
Similarly, Apache helicopter, you must have seen firing the missiles from the low-flying targets. In the Ukraine, you must have seen this helicopter. This is made by the US and given to us. Sukhoi is from Russia. Hercules is also from Russia. Rafale is from France. These are latest aircraft which Air Force is using. Aegis is also another light combat aircraft. So this is developed by an Indian company called Hindustan Aeronautics Limited in Bangalore. And now this is being exported to other countries which are in demand. There's another helicopter which we have taken from US, Chinook helicopter. This is basically for troop carriers. Basically, for Jawans are being carried from here and there, and some materials you can carry from one place to the place during the war area. Now, there are some vehicle-mounted missile launchers. So these are used by Air Force and Army both, and somewhere in Navy also we use when we go to near to the Gujarat border. There we have the missile launchers in Okha area. Now these are the radars, Rohini radars, which are used by Army, Air Force, and Navy, all three forces. Now this is what is a very lethal weapon of the Indian Air Force. So you can say it's a latest aircraft. Rafale also comes in the same category. So there are missiles, there are bombs, there are sensors, there are cockpits, and there are many equipment which are there lashed with these things. I won't go in details because a lot of things are to be told in this if I start telling everything. But main thing is there. The aircraft carry the missiles, they carry the bombs, and they carry the laser guided direction finders so that they can detect their target and destroy the target with the help of the missiles and the guided bombs. Now these are also one Sukhoi aircraft of Russia. She's also lashed with so many weapons and different range and different fighting capabilities. Now, Rafale is very much talked about everywhere because this is latest, supposed to be a latest war machine, so which is given to Air Force, and it has got many sensors which can work in night time, even in the foggy area, or if there is no visibility at all in the air. A lot of sensors are there in this to detect the target and hit the target accurately. So that is why this is much in demand everywhere, and this is being developed by France. Given to now 36 aircraft we have received from France, and the Air Force is having one full squadron of these aircraft now. Now let us come to the UAVs. UAVs are there with all three forces. Unmanned, they are basically bigger than the drones, and they are used for strikes and they are used for surveillance. Both purposes they are used. They are used for the espionage purposes also. They can find out the happenings in the hostile country, and they can come back without a hit in the target. And if they are programmed for hitting the target, they will hit the target also and come back. So a lot of capabilities are there in these unmanned vehicles. And latest we have developed in DRDO, we have developed one UAV called Rustam. You can see this here in the picture. And mostly we are using these UAV with the help of the import from the Israel and the US. And recently we have been told to develop the UAV in-house. In that case, the Adani has taken a lead and they have installed a company inside the Gujarat area. and they are in the process of manufacturing the drones and the UAV. But bigger UAVs are being developed by the DRDO, and when they develop this, Rustam has been already developed, and now that will be productionized with the help of companies, industries in the India. And small drones, and the drones are everywhere. Small drones, they are used for logistics purposes and message carrier and messenger carrier. All small drones are being built by many startups. They are there in India, but they are not much used by the Indian military purposes. They are used for a civilian crowd and the marketing and sales and the provisions and the logistic purposes. They are used outside. But in defense, you need to have a strike capability also, detection capability, surveillance capability. There are so many capabilities are required in unmanned vehicles. So that is why they are not much used. The small drones are not used by the Indian Armed Forces. And they are used only by the logistic purpose by the civilian crowd. Now let us come to the last segment of our lecture today, that is the Indian Navy. These are the warships, and they are the main of a warship, which you can see. A lot of things are written here in the slide, and this is the internal profile of a ship. Or what is there? There are a lot of decks are there. You see, 7 decks. There is a requirement of the ship. Based on the ship's capability, the decks are designed, and there are guns there in this. You can see sensors, these radars, the communication sensors, missile launchers. A lot of things are there. Front gun, backside gun, a lot of things are there in this. So I'll not discuss everything in this, what is there in the warship. But in a nutshell, you can say that there's this warship house, a helicopter also inside. Then these are the rescue boats. Okay. Now let us come to another thing, another profile of a warship. This is a Shivalik class Indian Navy ship, which is procured from USA, and that is having a lethal capability of striking the submarines and the aircraft from the warships only. These are the sensors which you can see, they are marked here. Radars and guns, missile launchers, and so many equipments which are there for fighting a war. Now let us see kind of a ship, missile destroyer. They are carrying the guided missile inside the ship, and whenever there is a command given to these missiles, the missiles come out from the ship, and they are launched from the top deck. This is called top deck. They are loaded inside, but when the command is given, they come out and then get fired from this ship to a target. So we have the LRSM, low range surface to air missile, and then BrahMos, which also surface to air missiles, and this is very big range. Then we have medium range gun here. Similarly, same thing is there at the back end also. These are top tubes which are used for destroying the submarines. And sonars drum is also there, which are there inside. At the bottom part of the ship, which is a sensor for some detecting a submarine. Now let us go quickly to another one. These are few submarines which India is having nowadays. The different class of submarines we have. We have the conventional submarine which are propelled by diesel electric system, and nowadays we have developed the nuclear submarine also, with the help of Russia and other associated countries. So now in-house we have developed few nuclear power submarines also. They are discussed here. You can see there are some naval aviation equipment aircraft, because Navy has got the aviation wing also. So we also have the fighter aircraft and the transport aircraft, and we have VIP aircraft and the drones and the UAVs. Everything is there in the Navy also. The Navy has got three dimensions: air, submarine, and surface ships. So These are few helicopters which are held by Indian Navy. These are the aircraft which are owned by Navy. Their naval aviation wing. Now these are the radars which are used by all three forces to detect the target and to track the target and destroy the target with the help of missile system and gun system. Now we have the GPS developed by the ISRO and GPS satellite, which is IRNSS, is there in the space, which is exclusively for us. And this is a Agni missile, which is launched on the vehicle. That is also guided missile, very high range, more than 2,000 kilometers. Now this is what is anti-bomb disposal robot. There we are using the artificial intelligence. Missile and launchers, which are land-based, ship-based, and submarine-based, and even sometimes from aircraft also you can use the missiles to strike the foes. Now this is a uh, centralized target education, acquisition, tracking, and destruction system. They are all in an Ethernet bus, and they are connected through a wired communication link and dedicated fiber, dedicated UTP, STP cables, and somewhere they are connected through wireless technology also. So this is the entire sensors and weapons which are interconnected to each other, and command and control is given from central locations, and from the local post also command is available. It depends upon the orders which come from the headquarters at the time of striking the enemy. Now these are more drawing which is used by Indian Army. They also have the battlefield network from headquarter to regional headquarter, division, formation, until the last fighting point by man and machine. So they are all interconnected with the data exchange over the Ethernet, fiber, wireless, whatever protocol is required is being used and strengthened with the high power of cyber security inbuilt system with these systems, so that nobody can tap the data which is being transferred from headquarter to the border locations and the back and forth in all the forms of communication. That is all very, very secured data network. Similarly, one more network we have, that is coastal surveillance, like this is in case of Navy. In Bombay, we have this surveillance system with the help of the satellite and the other optical devices which are there in space, and all these movement of the merchant vessels and movement of the warships and any vessel which is coming and going, leaving harbor and entering harbor, they're all being monitored from a shore-based uh, vigilance system, or you can say military surveillance system, because anything which is coming in the Indian waters, they are to be monitored and they are to be controlled by military. And if they are cleared by military organization, then they are allowed to enter inside the Indian water. Now let us come to fast. Okay, there's one more combat management system. There are different formats are there. They are all controlled through redundant data bus and the computerized signal system, which are stored in a central location, and their slave system is there in the regional headquarter and at the last point of destruction where the war is going on, war takes place. So these are our network unit. Now this is a missile launcher on the ships or submarines. This is a guided missile. So I will not go into the detail of the parts which are there in the submarines or in the missile, but they use the control engineering fundamentals for the negative feedback for correction of their direction, and they carry a sensor which is on the tip of the warhead to guide themselves while tracking a target. This has got a communication sensor. This has got the small radar which keeps the position of the missile, which is controlled by the ground stations. So all these electronics part and computer software part is inbuilt inside the missile, and this missile, the body of the missile is manufactured with this special kind of alloy steel that is also well researched and well developed by the DRDO and sometimes from the our support countries which are who are there to support us for the modernization project. Now this is a fundamentals how we track and destroy the target by a guided missile weapon. So this is a control system which is using this negative feedback system correcting the missile from launch station till it hits the target. This is the missile. So this takes the direction of this missile is controlled from the ground station, and this the correction system is this particular block diagram you have seen. This is a very rugged system, and the control engineering fundamentals are used in this. Now there is another data bus which is used for the military communication. The military communication system is also networked through some fiber link or through the STP or UTP or wireless. So entire gadget which are there in the armed forces, they are all secured and networked as per requirement, so that the command and control is not a problem area. Another network which you can see, there are different kind of networks which I am showing you. Now let us come to the last page of today's lecture, that is submarines. This is advanced. This is called advanced technical vessel attack submarine, and people call it deadliest enemy of enemy anywhere in the world. Now this is what the internal profile of a submarine. You can see here these are the black portions are all storage batteries, and then this is this main propulsion motor which propels the submarine. This small motor, then this is the front portion is your torpedoes and the missiles chambers, this area. Then this is a conning tower. Various masts are there which comes up and goes down. This is a conventional submarine. It is not propelled by nuclear reactor. This is propelled by DC motor, which is here seen here. These two motors. And these are the planes which are for going down and for taking up in the water. Okay, now one more submarine I will show you. Internal profile of the German submarine which is supplied to us. HDW submarines. They are supplied from the Germany, and their propulsion is also conventional propulsion with the help of motor. And this motor is being powered by the batteries which are housed inside the lower deck of the submarine. So very complex system. Serving in a submarine arm is a great task of a human being, because this particular machine is highly congested and highly lethal and highly dangerous to work with this kind of system or submarines. So fortunately, I was also part of submarine arm in Indian Navy for 10 years. Another submarine I will show you. This is a nuclear submarine which has been recently developed by Indian Navy in liaison with the DRDO and ISRO and Bhabha Atomic Research Center. So this is a nuclear submarine which is right now there with the Indian Navy. These are the missiles and the launchers which you see. This is the reactor compartment, and there are many equipment inside. We will not go in detail, but they are. This is also another challenge in the technology. Lot of things are there in this to handle computer control, then a lot of EXTC content, then embedded software, mechanical system, metallurgical system, many things are there. So this is not going to complete in 1 hour of lecture. This is a very, very great topic. And separately we can discuss each and everything which is there inside the summary. Another submarine you can see inside. These four are the launcher. These are also nuclear submarine. So I'm just showing you to give you a little bit of fair idea so that you can understand what is there inside the submarine without visiting to submarine physically. This forward side is all the strike area from where the missiles and the torpedoes are launched. This is also missile launcher in nuclear submarine. In case of nuclear submarine, launchers are vertically launched. And in case of conventional submarine, they are launched from the forward side of the submarines. Now, there is another internal part of the submarine. This is also nuclear submarine. Now, these are the propulsion system of submarines. How this is a nuclear reactor which is propelling the submarine. A lot of mechanical system involved in this. This is a boiler which is inside the submarine, which is being controlled by a reactor. These are the reactors. Reactors gives you the high energy, and with that heat energy, the water is getting evaporated and the steam gets generated, and that steam drives the mechanism, and ultimately it goes to the propulsion propeller, and that propeller drives the submarine in a forward direction. These are few equipment which are there inside the submarine ships and the defense equipment, aircraft, and the main battle tanks. These are the equipment which are there inside these war machines. There are few very, very important systems: meteorological system, emergency escape system, auxiliary machinery system, main broadcast and warning system. They're all systems. They are there in the ships, submarines, and air force, army, and air, everywhere in this defense services as per requirement. And they're all installed there, and they are maintained by the services. High pressure air system, electric and diesel air compressors. There are so many equipment. Hydraulic accumulator, torpedo fire control system. All these things are there in submarines and ships. Now this is submarine, which is you can see from what are things are there in this basically for the intercept competency, fighting competency, and the communication, sensing, all that part is just shown here in this slides. You can see this is a very, very lethal submarine. Has got so many things which do for adding to some strike force. See this is a submarine to submarine detection. How you can detect the submarine with the help of sonar system, which is fitted inside the submarine. That system is actually works based on the sound waves. Those sound waves are converted into electrical wave, EM waves, and then they are synthesized and processed to find out the signature of the target area, how the target looks like, and accordingly, the fighting force of the army and air force, navy, and they take the corrective measures and they strike the submarine or ships which is there in the sea and ocean area. Now this is what is a rescue mission. Suppose submarine is dived inside and not able to come out, and an emergency alarm is raised to the ship on top. Then ship takes you with the rescue vessel on this and takes the one by one the crews gets inside, and this particular the white portion you see, that is rescue vessel, and then rescue vessels is launched on the surface, and from the surface then the people come out and go in the ship. But this is very tough operation. It's not very easy. If you are at a certain depth, like maximum 100 to 150, or at the most 200 meter, if you are there inside, you can be rescued. Otherwise, very tough task to rescue a submarine from the underwater damages. This is how it looks like. Now, few very, this is a very important part of the surveillance, satellite-based enemy area surveillance. In this, ISRO gives the support to Indian Armed Forces. We are scanning the area of enemy. We are taking pictures, we are taking videos from the hostile countries, China, Pakistan, and the other neighboring countries. And in case any other country also, we can scan and take the live conditions of the movement there. So these are the gadgets which are there in the Army, Air Force, and Navy. They are jointly controlled by all three forces. And these kind of intelligence gathering in the form of pictures, videos of the enemy country, they are archived in a big database, data centers, and they are there for future striking decisions and other things. This is what is there. We take the picture from satellite, then satellite sends the picture to the ground station. From ground station, it is getting processed in the digitized form and stored in a big storage. And if picture is required, it is printed and given to military users. This is how the picture looks like when we take a picture from any other country which is near to us. I have finished my talk. It's very fast. I have not given much time on each and every point because this is a very huge topic, a vast topic. There are countless equipments and countless technologies are there. I can't count on a PPT. If somebody visits the defense area and the defense equipment there, only they can better visualize things better way. But somehow I tried to put main systems in this presentation, and few of them you may not be able to appreciate. But if you have some questions, you can ask me now. Okay. Just yeah, ma'am. हाँ. तो कल करते हैं. I'll come with you and we will go together. वो भी चेक से ही निकाला था. वो भी चेक से निकाला था. बट वो बताऊंगा आपको. अभी मैं मैम एक लेक्चर दे रहा हूँ. So I will give you the details how to do this. Okay, right. Okay, any questions anybody has got? Anything you want to ask? Because it's very tough task to cover everything in 1.5 hours and 2 hours. That is why I have run through very fast in all these slides. Anything else you want to ask and know something more about things which you have seen, something new you must have seen, and you have a lot of questions in mind. You are not able to tell your friends and your what you have understood so far. Maybe you may not understand everything, but something I have been able to make the things simple. But these things are not very simple, which I have told you right now. But anybody has got anything to speak, कुछ बताना है, कुछ पूछना है, बताओ. Some more time is there with you. I wanted to finish it little slower, but
There is no end to it because a lot of things I have not even included in this due to security reasons. There are some things which are very, very secret for the armed forces. They are not to be discussed in an open forum like this. But still, around 80 to 90% I have spoken here, but not much in details. I can agree with this. बहुत details में बता नहीं सकता क्योंकि there are something which I cannot divulge in open public. But yes, I can discuss the technologies which are being used in services. They are not secret. They are all open by open domain and open source. People are using across the world. हाँ, किसी को पूछना है बेटा? Anybody wants to tell anything or some nature? Let it be any type of query. Real देखना किसी chat box में कुछ लिखा हो किसी ने?
हाँ sir, there's a one question in chat box. Sir, does seat ejection in helicopter is used in IAF?
थोड़ा आवाज आपकी कम आ रही है.
Sir, does seat ejection in helicopter is used in IAF? एक question आया chat में.
फिर से repeat करो question.
Does seat ejection in helicopter is used in IAF, Indian Armed
Yes,
Forces?
it is used, but generally since the helicopter is a low flying machine, the ejection doesn't take. If it takes place also, then you are going to be hit by the rocks or the valley. So ejection doesn't work because when the problem is there in the low flying object, then it goes down very fast because the distance from the ground and your helicopter is very less. तो जितनी देर में आप इजेक्ट करोगे उतनी देर में ऑलरेडी आप ग्राउंड कर चुके रहोगे and system is there but not getting very effective. It is effective only in the warplane aircraft, fighter aircraft, which is flying at a little higher speed. Yeah, bolo. Or anything else?
Yes, sir. One more question. When would the theater command be formed?
Data command. Actually, there is no command for this right now. Data center is already there for accumulating the enemy area data and the past histories which were used for fighting the war. Those kind of data is already there in all three forces, but they are not shared everywhere. When the joint command comes up, because right now joint command is there, but at certain area there is not fully operational in Delhi, which General Rawat has started. The joint headquarters, Chief of Defence Staff, that is a joint command only, but it is still in a very nascent stage, very preliminary stage. It will take some more time. When the joint command comes, then there will be a theater command. Theater command will be divided by the Indian Army, Air Force, and Navy. They all will form the group, and then the theater command will come in force. That will take another 5 to 10 years, not less than that. But data command is not there right now. Data inter exchange is there when it is required. In that case, we have a military grid with even RAW and IB and other military agencies in India. They're all interlinked, but the pipe is open on the need to know basis only. If suppose the RAW wants something or RAW wants to give something to Indian Army or Indian Navy or Air Force, that particular time the permissions are given by the centralized computer. That time only data exchange takes place. Otherwise, not much exchange is there from the other services apart from the defense forces. When they are required, then only they are put on the grid, and otherwise they are isolated. Okay.
Okay, sir, one more question. Has any sinking submarine rescue mission been performed in Indian Army?
India mein to this is not possible and nothing has been done so far, and no submarine has sunk so far except ships during the 71 war. 71 war, around 2 ships was sunk, and even in peacetime also few ships were sunk due to the rough weathers and some machinery failures. But the rescue is not there because rescuing from the submarine is almost next to impossible, because when there is a
depth in the sea. So after 300 meter of depth, submarine goes down. Then no one can go, no machinery can go so down, and to get the people rescued from there, because if they come out from the submarine, they will be, because of the high pressure of the sea, they will be destroyed by the sea pressure. Successful so far, whether it is Russia or America or Indonesia, wherever you must have heard, except in shallow waters. If you are in 100 meters depth, then you can be rescued. Beyond that, it is very, very tough task. And I have not seen anybody has been rescued from anywhere in the world. Any other question?
Yes, sir. One more question. What is the range of Agni 5 missile? Actual range of Agni 5 missile? We claim 5,000 kilometer, but Chinese say 8,000 kilometer range.
Yeah, actually, these are all notional ranges. They are told, they are declared just to give a deterrence to the enemy country or the other country which are not in favor of us. But these ranges are basically be as per the agreement of the international convention. Whatever weapons we are making, we have to declare their ranges and their lethal capability, how much they will destroy. Yes, it is there even beyond 5,000, but sometimes there is always 10% to 20% margin kept of the sleeves, not to be told everywhere. But roughly we have to disclose because of the international convention. All countries are doing that, not in India. Whatever we are developing or making in military domain, that has to be declared, that has to be told to in a Jane's publication. There is one publication called Jane's publication. That is defense magazines sort of a thing. There you have to declare the strike capability of your some missiles or other weapons also for that. Any other question?
In future, how many rifles will be included in Air Force?
Repeat.
In future, how many rifles will be included in Air Force?
Rafales.
Yes, sir.
Right now we have the contract of 36 Rafale only, because we have to have money also no, for that very, very costly aircraft. So the entire the supply has been done by the France. So let's see if requirement comes, we can take, and we have started making our own fighter aircraft Tejas. So we may not require. 36 have come already. So one squadron is already there. And as soon as this Sukhoi and the Mirage they get phased out, then they will be re-inducted with the modern aircraft from our friendly country from where we have a defense ties. But generally, we have been told, defense has been told by the government of India to go for indigenous development through DRDO, so that our dependency on the foreign country reduces day by day. That is why a lot of engineering graduates, a lot of researchers are required by the defense forces, and their industry is associated with them, because a lot of around 100 industries are there in India and abroad. They are associated with the DRDO, ISRO, and the Indian Army, Air Force, and Navy for developing their weapon system.
Sir, next question is, why building a military base on small island like Andaman and Nicobar are important?
Are required or not required? What is the last?
Why building a military base on small island like Andaman and Nicobar are important? Why they are important?
Yeah, because they are very much important. Otherwise, tomorrow if there is because you see Andaman and Nicobar is far off from Indian mainland. They are near to Singapore and the Indonesia. They are near to their country. Even if they have a aircraft or a civil aircraft, that will take hardly 1 hour to reach there from Andaman Port Blair to Singapore. But from India to Andaman, you will reach in 3.5 hours. So distance wise, that island is very far off from our country mainland. But since we have captured and the Britishers has given us that land, and we have to show the deterrence that we are there. If military is not there, that can be captured by the neighboring country. So we are not neighboring country for the Andaman Nicobar Island is concerned. If you go and see the map, the Singapore is near to the neighboring country, near to the Andaman Nicobar Island, and even Indonesia is also nearby. Thailand is also nearby, but we are not nearby. But still, we have those 500 islands, including the main island of the Nicobar and Andaman. So that is why these are strategic important. There are certain things which mainland will not give you. We have marine lives. We have the Oceanic Survey of India there, so that we can independently survey the seabed and ocean bed for our safe navigation of the submarines and ship. So that center is always a strategic importance. Even China is making artificial island. There are no island there. He's putting the boulders inside the sea and putting the shallow water and reclaiming the land and making the island just to keep the military bases there, so that the striking capability increases. If somebody comes and strikes you from your land border, then that means he has come inside. Like Russia has gone inside the Ukraine. Ukraine has not been able to go in the Russia for any striking capability. They are in a defense mode. They are not in attacking mode. So if somebody comes inside the border of the India, then we are in a great problem. That is why in the eastern side, if somebody is trying to do something, we can stop them at the island level only. Even in Lakshadweep also, we have some military base. Although Lakshadweep is very small, so it is only monitoring base. No, there is no much weapon there. But islands are always of strategic importance for the militaries to show them that we are there near to you. Okay. Otherwise, it could have been captured by Indonesia if we were not taking the Andaman and Nicobar before independence. Okay. Anything else?
Yeah, some many questions.
Yeah.
Like, would the Navy consider buying more MiG-29 or opt for Rafales or Hornets?
Yeah, right now we have MiG-29 fighter plane on the Vikramaditya, INS Vikramaditya. We are trained for that. Our equipment which are there in the ships, because whatever aircraft you have to have a hangar for that on a aircraft carrier. Right now that particular ship, INS Vikramaditya, is designed to hold the MiG-29, because this INS Vikramaditya was procured from the Russia. So they have customized that platform for their own aircraft, which is MiG-29. Now, if we want to have the Rafale, then Rafale, first of all, that is mainly used for the Air Force. Rafale's capability is more accurate in land-based targets, or from launching from the airport, then launching from a mobile platform like aircraft carrier. The aircraft carrier has got many challenges. It is not stable. When it goes in a deep sea, and in a high tide and low tide time, it rolls and pitches left and right. So it's not a stationary platform to take off a bigger aircraft from that particular platform. But yes, we are making the INS Vikrant. Another Vikrant is being built, another aircraft carrier on the name of previous Vikrant. That might have the capability to handle the Rafale and other future warplanes. But right now, the requirement is more for the Air Force than the Navy, because naval warfare is basically will come for full warfare. When you go for the war in the Indian Ocean, and that is the area of the war is bigger than the Air Force and Army. If you go for a bigger war zone, then you need to have the operations of aircraft carrier from where these fighter planes will be launched for striking the enemy. So right now we have to keep a strike and balance, and the requirement comes from the Air Force more than the Navy. Navy is self-contained with whatever they have right now. But yes, Rafale and other advanced aircraft are also required to be uh, launched from the mobile platform like aircraft carrier in Indian Navy. तो वो भी आगे plan है, but not in the near future,
Okay.
because this ship should have the maintenance and repair facility of these kind of aircraft, which are going to be the new addition in the ship. For any new addition in the ship, has to be that ship should have the housing capability, maintenance capability, repair capability, and the launching capability. Everything has to be there in the ship. So that ship is not meant for Rafale as such right now, INS Vikramaditya. In future generation like INS Vikrant, which is coming up, it is already floating in the Indian Ocean and the Arabian Sea, that might have the Rafale. Or even in future, you can take down the better aircraft than Rafale also. Anything else?
Yeah, sir. What is the name of the international convention which takes care of all defense related things?
See, that is Geneva Convention. Geneva Convention takes many things. Like Geneva Convention tells you the how you'll be handling what you have when you capture the enemy area, when you capture the POW, prisoner of wars, how you'll have to deal them, what kind of environment you have to give them, and how much you can take, how much you can return. So if you have advanced further in the country, then you have to come back also in your country. All those conventions are there in Geneva Conventions. It's basically a war convention only with all countries. But people nowadays they break the Geneva Convention also. But I see might is always right. If you are more mightier than others, a country which is mightier than the smaller country, they will always jump over these conventions, and then finally they'll be put with some economic sanction, a lot of restrictions, some penalties will be there. But that is the only convention right now enforced. But I don't find that is very, very strong to follow. People don't even follow sometimes. Like Russia is right now not following the convention. Okay, anything else?
Yes, sir. What about AMCA, Swadeshi fifth gen fighter aircraft and its future use?
Fifth generation fighter aircraft is a Rafale only, and another aircraft which is a second version, which is going to be developed by France only. That is also going to be called as a fifth generation only. And generations you can understand the data bus which they use, the information exchange, the rate of information exchange, and the processor they use, and the fighting capability they use. All these things comes in the to tell you what kind of generation. Right now we are into fifth and sixth generation. Sixth also they have started developing, but currently we have a fifth generation aircraft in most advanced countries like France, UK, USA, Russia, and India. India is also dependent on them. We have not yet started that. Okay. Anything else?
Yeah. Is there an increase of the indigenously created weapon systems in India? Will the weapon imports from Russia be lesser in future?
Yeah, that we can't say, but still, yes, Atmanirbhar Bharat has given me a lot of boost to the Indian industries. Now L&T and Reliance and I think there are few government companies, HAL, BAML, Bharat Electronics, around 20 to 25 countries which are companies which are owned by the government. They have started working on this, and even battle tanks and aircraft and submarines, ships we have started making also. So we are even as we have started exporting the weapons to some African countries, some small countries. Even Brazil is also asking something from us. So we are progressing faster for increasing our export, and less dependent on the import content. But still, the defense has got a lot of complications. Technology-wise, defense is very, very intensive, and total independence will take place. I don't think less than 20, 25 years will be there down the line to become self-reliant in defense sector without depending on any such big countries like Russia and US.
So last question,
Yeah.
why India not join NATO?
First and foremost, we are not very small country. We are largest, you can say, in the population, almost largest next to China. Our physical dimensions, geographic dimension is also bigger than those countries who are there in the NATO country. And NATO countries are basically all together except USA. USA is across the Atlantic, but the maximum European countries which are very, very small, like our state, UP, Madhya Pradesh, and Andhra Pradesh, they will also, they are the bigger than those countries which are there in the Europe. So they are a small country. Their basic aim is to economic development. They are not into the much of the fighting mode. To safeguard their interest of the defense requirement, they have come together to form a NATO organization in 1949 after the World War II to safeguard their defense interest. And they are co-located also. We are not co-located. We are far off from them. So keeping person from the Asian region and joining them, and also we don't believe in uh, alignment with one part of this segment of the world. We are like non-aligned type. We have even we were having the principle of non-alignment also. Non-alignment movement is also there. We are not in any group of the world. There are so many groups in the world. Major groups is a Western country is controlled by US, and some group is controlled by Russia. These are bipolar countries, bipolar groups. But there are so many other groups also. But we are there in these groups for the economic development, not for the defense development. So for our defense side, we want to get benefited from all these countries rather getting benefit from only the NATO country. So we want to be in a win-win situation. Just because we are away from them, our boundaries are not with them, and we are worried more about our economic development than the defense development. Defense, in any case, is required for the safeguarding the country. For any economic development, you need to have a strong defense in your border lines. But we are comfortable without joining them, because if we join one group and we antagonize another group, then we will not be able to strike a balance between these two, because we are the customer of Russia also, we are the customer of US also. So both the group we are India belongs to for economic development, for defense requirement. But if we go to NATO only, then Russia will get antagonized from us, and they will stop delivering the equipment which we are taking from them. That is why we are not joining the NATO country. The NATO country, fundamentally, they are totally different. Their economics and their military and their other development are totally interdependent, and they follow a certain principle of life which is not followed by the Russia and other countries like China and Asian countries. Many Asian countries don't follow them. So our caste and culture, everything is different than them. So that is also one aspect. We want to have a good relation with all these countries without antagonizing any big country like Russia and any other country which is there in the western part of the world. Yeah, anything else?
So yeah, one last question. In how many years India will become the permanent member of UN? And is it possible, like,
Yeah, we are trying since our freedom time. When we got freedom, we were given the chance to become the permanent member of the UN. But that time, the government which was controlling the country, did not feel importance of that. That is why China was brought in and India was taken out. But this is a very, very long time we have waited for. Now people have started realizing that India should become permanent member of UN. We are still trying in all forums. We say we want to become permanent. But when we become a bigger, what I feel with my experience, I would like to tell you, if we become a great exporter of defense equipment and our economies goes beyond $5 trillion, then we might be considered for becoming the permanent union, because then we have to have a veto power for making a permanent member of the UN General Assembly. So that is some hiccups are there, and in any case, this China will never like that India should become permanent member, because they have a say on that. Whenever there is big decisions taken in UN General Assembly, China goes against us. So all those dynamics is there in UN. Western countries also having their own vested interest uh, to make the India with a permanent member or whatever conditions we are, let it be there only. But if we have we increase our export and we increase our economy, or we increase our economic health, and we are recognized by everybody, and we can also impose some sanctions in countries like US is making sanctions, economic sanctions to Russia. Then our voice will be heard by the UN. Otherwise, the UN is not going to give us a permanent membership. We can try, but still we are trying.
So
Yeah.
yes, so the questions end.
Okay. Very
And
good.
so on behalf of our club, I extend a really hearty vote of thanks to our speaker, Commander Vijay Pratap Singh sir, who spared his time from the busiest schedule to grace the occasion. Today, we had an opportunity to hear your thoughts, and this will surely, encourage us in future events. A wide round of applause for and thank you to all the participants who made the event a memorable one. And finally, I would like to thank all of you who are present here for making the time to be with us today. Listening to sir and making this event a grand success. Thank you all.
Yeah, Priyal, one question was there when you're talking. Somebody asked me that the LAC and LOC issues are not raised. Okay.
Okay, sir.
So in the higher level, because these issues are bilateral, they are not trilaterals. So that is why we don't want to make it public in the UN or anywhere else. Then they will hijack the movement and they will try and put something else in between. So in whatever conditions we are happy. And if there is a requirement, we can do aggression and we can invade Pakistan, take our territory in future if we become more stronger. The economy wise, basically when we go for a war, the economics goes for six. That is a major problem. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Just a minute.
Okay, sir.
Hello. Madam.
Guys, I have posted the attendance link on the chat. You can fill
हाँ
it.
मैं
The
आता
link is
हूँ मैं
active only
आता
for
हूँ
10
अभी मैं
minutes.
कॉलेज में हूँ आके देता हूँ अच्छा मैं लैपटॉप में मोबाइल में कम हूँ, वो बताता हूँ मैं आपको अभी आके बताता हूँ या
Yeah, sir.
एनीथिंग एल्स
So
Thank you,
one
sir.
बोलो
last one question. Like, sir, Dubai will buy Tejas or Chinese jets? One student is asking.
Dubai is in favor of us. Dubai might take UAE basically. Dubai is a UAE part of UAE only. UAE is a friendly country. But China is a more aggressive than us. They are aggressive, very good aggression in the marketing and sales. Whole of the Africa and Middle East, they are having their presence as far as exports are concerned. But we have to lower down our price because Tejas is not very cheap. Okay, and Tejas is a unique aircraft. No country has got it. It's very light in combat, but very काफी हल्का है. maneuvering and flying in the air and taking turns, sharp turns. The Tejas is very good. But only problem is that Tejas cannot carry a load maximum. You can say weapons, which is there in the Rafale. So we will change that in future. That might be taken by UAE. Right now they are not our customer, but they are our friendly country, better than Saudi Arabia.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
The questions end here.
Okay.
So I am saying that thank you, sir, for sharing your views on the topic. It was a great session.
Okay. Swam is from which branch?
FEAIDS. Even Mohammed is saying same. Thank you, sir. From mechanical.
Okay. They are the first year students, so they may not understand everything. But I don't know any BE student is there in today's. But that is most of the content is from B for B and third year.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks a lot, beta. सब लोग इतनी देर तक बैठे है ना?
Thank you, sir, for such wonderful, speech and wonderful session. It was, very informative, and I hope everyone, gained a lot of knowledge from this session today.
Okay. Anybody has got any doubt, he can come and meet me in person. So that will be more eye opener than this. ये तो बहुत कम था because I was not able to compress everything. A lot of things are there which I have missed today. ठीक है? Due to some security reasons or something very much detailed, will all get bored. Okay. Thanks, Priyal and other organizers of the short club. And
Thank
if
you.
somebody wants a repeat session of something specific on submarine aircraft or anything else which is military content is there, we can narrow down to one part and then I can deliver a lecture on that. But if you all are quite busy in the schedule, whenever you find time, you can ask me, and for even career guidance also, you can ask me and pose your questions whenever I meet. I'm going to be there in the college for 3 days. The short club is knowing that. Okay, and even they can ask me when I'm not there in the college.
So students are saying one more session, please, sir.
Yeah, you can think of we can isolate to some other part, or same thing if you want to repeat, because this I find this is a fag end of the day today. 4:30 if you start talking, and students will get bored after some time. So if you can, you ask them to take the polls if they want again, we can take. But I want a little senior people who can understand the technology.
Yes.
And the first year is good if you have a good response from first year and second year. I was not hoping that they will come, but the senior people, senior engineer who are going to be engineer in near future, like third year and fourth year, for them it will be very good. And if you have a more questions, then only you can visualize and you can understand what is there in that particular technology. Because as technology as such, I have not discussed in detail. Because if I go in detail, then it will become a technology intensive class. तो उसमें सबको बोरियत हो जाएगा, ठीक है? So something I have put across here. First time I have made this. In future, if I can refine it and put it in a very interesting way, I'll give my presentation to the short club. They can refine it with more visuals and more graphics for making it more interesting for
Yeah.
students for today's generation.
Yeah, surely, sir.
Mm.
So I would just say that, if anyone has any questions or if you want anything more sessions like this, you can, post it out attendance link I have given there. You can post your suggestions there. So we'll sort it out and we'll plan accordingly for future.
Okay.
Yeah, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, you can summarize and finish it off today for today. And thanks for the students who are listening to me patiently. I never expected around 198 students will be there today. I thought they all will get bored and they'll just push off from the
No.
meeting.
No,
Okay,
sir.
because this is a little unique in nature, not very common for the civil public outside, which I have spoken to.
No, no,
Okay.
sir. It wasn't boring at all.
Chalo, okay. You want me to leave now?
Yes, the session is over. The attendance link is posted. And if, based on the suggestions, we'll plan next sessions.
Okay, then I'll leave now. Thanks a lot for all of you and patient hearing from my side. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, sir.
Yeah.
So guys, I'll be ending the meeting in 2 minutes and the link will be active only for more 5 minutes. So just fill the attendance link quickly. And thank you very much for attending to this session. Put your suggestions in the attendance link only. If you have any doubts, you can also, contact me or anyone from this hot club. Thank you once again.